Welcome to Accounting High.
You have created this cap, which is hard to do for most ambitious people. You don't sound burnt out. You sound like you're still having fun.
I'm not doing this jump to go out on my own to work 70 hours a week, no matter what the money is, because I don't want that. Hiring people, firing people, and wearing a million hats.
You got the Fun CPA hat on right now.
All the hats.
You got your gym hat, you've got your kid hat, you've got your business hat. Outside of working at these CPA firms, that you're making more money, you have more free time. But when you enter this next phase of trying to grow it,
Yeah.
Hi, class is in session. It's time for Shoperations at accounting. Hi, class is in session. It's time for Shoperations at accounting. Hi, kids. Hybrid teams, for Pete's sake. I'm trying to manage through screens, but I can't figure out which Zoom window's my next meeting. Well, since 2012, my firm's been in the cloud. Join us as we go deep. I'll try not to run it to the ground. We're sharing profit and loss and managing back office. The tax staff just quit. Tried to hire on LinkedIn, no luck. And scope creep, team count, CAS, automate tax, compliance, transactions, ID, and bottlenecks. Come on, ops. Scotty, wait a minute. It's my firm, dog. I know, and I said you could run it however you want.
Introducing the star of our show.
Big Cap and Scotty.
We're gonna have a problem here.
Class is in session. I got with me the Fun CPA. Big time. Yuri Kapilovich.
Kapilovich.
Kapilovich. Yeah, Kapilovich. Yuri, thanks for joining me today from the big New Jersey.
That's right.
The big state of New Jersey. You know what they say? They say North Carolina is going to be as big as New Jersey in 2030. Not physically, not geographically, population. By 2030, my state's going to be rivaling yours, homie.
I believe it, man. I believe it. Lower property taxes, good lifestyle, temperate weather, man. You got it all. We're out here struggling in the cold.
East Coast.
That's
Thank you
right.
for joining me at Accounting High today. Our students are excited for you because they love the fun. I understand, too. You do a little bit of rapping on the side.
I do. I'm not as talented as you are on that freestyle, though. I'm more of a...
I don't know how to freestyle. What are you talking about? I write all my... I don't freestyle.
I don't know, but you got some good cadence and delivery. But I'm good on the songs that exist already. I'm a wrap them up at the karaoke all day long, man.
Dope.
Yeah.
Well, maybe you could do a karaoke of an OKR track one day.
Maybe on the big stage.
Let me ask you first. How on earth did you become the Fun CPA? Take off the fun. How did you become the CPA? Why did you even go into this as a profession?
I love the question. Actually, this one is a unique one. I haven't had that one yet. So interestingly enough, in college, when I started college, I actually wanted to go into finance. That was like my thing before school. At Rutgers, which is where I went to school, it was 2 years of like your basic college and then 2 years of business school. And you had to apply to business school like on your second year, whatever. One of my grades got messed up. It was in a psychology class that I had. I got messed up. I got a C instead of an A, which dropped my GPA low enough that I couldn't even apply to the business school at all, let alone finance. That was the top tier at the time. You had to have a 3.4 to get into finance or above to even apply. And then below that, then accounting, then marketing, then whatever. But because of the C that I was given erroneously, instead of my A, my GPA was like a 3. So I didn't qualify for any business school major at all. So I'm like, holy shit, what am I going to do? Right? I obviously was like battling with the professor, whatever, back and forth. He was like, I'm so sorry, you messed it up, whatever. Fixed it up. By the time he fixed it, finance closed. That's it. Like you couldn't go into it anymore. It was full. That major was full. So I was like, okay, well, what's next? I can get into the business school now. Certainly want to do that. So accounting was the next up. So that's how I got into accounting, man. And then I was going through it. And as I was going through it, I found this like passion for the individual tax. Shout out to Professor Goodman, who passed away, RIP. He was the man.
Professor Goodman wasn't the one who screwed up your grade, though.
He was not. No.
Okay. Not shout out. We're not shouting out the guy
who messed up my grade. Nah, man, it's all water on the bridge anyway. Probably for the best. No, Professor Goodman was the teacher of individual tax, which is where I found my passion at.
I mean, it was definitely for the best. You wouldn't have found accounting.
Yep.
Accounting found you through a clerical error.
And that's I never thought of it that way, but that's something else, man. That's like such an accounting story. But anyway, I kept, that passion of the individual tax. I didn't find much excitement in corporate tax, not in college and not in any part of my career when I kept trying to get pushed into the C Corp world.
Why or how did you distinguish between the two? What was it about individual that you liked better?
I like the fact, I mean, to me, what happened at the bigger, like the C Corp world, the provision and all that kind of stuff, like it was just so big, right? Like these companies are so big that you're dealing with the CFO, controller, blah, blah, blah. You're not connected to the main owner, and they're so disconnected, they don't even care. And on top of that, what I discovered later on, I just didn't like the work initially, but what I discovered later on was that the controllers, CFOs, their bonuses are driven based on profits and all that stuff, right? And where can they cut costs? Accounting fees. So what kept happening was I kept seeing it. The partners would get bullied on the fees. Cut this, cut that. You know, it's too high because the CFOs wanted a bigger bonus. Nobody was negotiating and haggling with attorneys. Interesting how it works, right? Only us accountants getting the haggles. So I saw that. Again, like I said, I also didn't like the work. But the main bottom line is that I knew it affected people. We know the bottom line, your taxes are one of the biggest expenses you'll have every year. And I just like the help of people. I was an EMT for 16 years too. So, you know, it's kind of aligned with the helping people thing.
You were an EMT as well?
Yep.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah,
So you found that the person you can have the most impact on is the decision maker. And in order to get to the decision maker, in this case, the person that you were impacting was the taxpayer, the individual tax preparer. So by doing that, you could work with somebody that you could have an impact on directly rather than the CFO. You're not really having any kind of direct impact on them. They were having an impact on you by firing the accountant. Yeah,
exactly. Not only was it, you know, the impact to them, when I really thought about it years later, not initially, I can't say I had that clairvoyance, but down the line, I could see, you know, it's really just a job to a CFO and a controller at a big, you know, Microsoft equivalent, big private company, right? It's a job. They come in, they clock out. That's it. Just like anybody else. They're not the CEO. It's not affecting them personally. If they get let go, they'll just find another job.
But the individual, they're not getting let go from anything. They're still going to have to pay taxes wherever they go. That will always follow them. Always. So you found a passion for individual tax, and you stuck with that for a while. How many different firms did you work at?
So I worked at seven in total, trying to find that perfect place to call home, and always in that individual tax and the businesses that they owned, the flow through, if you will.
That's a lot of different CPA firms, Yuri.
It is.
What was it were you leaving each one to get more money? Why were you hopping from firm to firm?
So interestingly, the longest firm I was at is EY, Miami. Shout out to probably the best experience at a big four firm that I ever had. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was in the Miami office and split my time between Boca. I was there for about 4 years. And quite honestly, if I didn't move, I was from New Jersey originally, moved to Florida. My girlfriend at the time was in optometry school, and I came back after she was done. When I came back, I was trying to match that same experience that I had in Florida. That was amazing. Yes, we worked hard, but everybody had fun, and you know, they were the fun CPAs.
They were the fun CPAs.
Yeah. The OG, the fun CPAs. Yeah. When I came back, I was like, all right, let me find a firm like that I would enjoy working at. Initially, I moved because EY didn't have an office where we moved to in Central Jersey, whatever. So I found the next firm. From that point on, after I came back, every year and a half, I would jump. And not because of money, but because of either I just vehemently disagreed with how they did things. They treated staff poorly, all the stuff that I talk about on my, LinkedIn Saucy Friday posts. Or I was just not getting the experience that I wanted. And to be specific, I would always interview. I would always say, I want the closely held businesses, smaller. I don't want these ginormous. Even an S-Corp can be not very personal when it's $450 million in gross revenue. It's just not the same. That's what I wanted, and I would not get that, because when you're good in the public accounting, then they don't want you to work in on $20 million small business. When you're good, you're doing a $450 million closely held, sure, but that is not the closely held, because that owner for $450 million, you're not talking to them. Nope. They're behind multiple layers.
How many hours were you working when you were working at these firms? Was it the same firm to firm, or was some different than others?
It was just literally the same stuff at different firms. No matter how much of that hype they were doing online, saying they're the best of this, the best of that, we have the best culture. Every place that said that, nah, It was the same, man. And to give you context on my year and a half, it was to the day, year and a half across 4 firms. And 6 months, honeymoon phase, I'm all, yes, this is the place, man. Finally found it. I'll make partner here. And they treated me nice, whatever. 6 months, the next 6 months, I'm like, that doesn't really sound right. Like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Why am I working on this? I asked you specifically not to work on this, whatever. Then the last 6 months, the third 6 months is where I was just seething in anger. And was just annoyed about everything and just butting heads with people. And it's not a good look. It's not. But I'm not a quiet person, as you can imagine. Like, I don't just sit there and take it as most people would. I will say to a scheduler, when this happened multiple times, when they try, here's a C Corp, Yuri. I've told you many a times I don't do C Corps. And I will not do C Corps. And if you want me to do this C Corp, I'm like, I'm going to be at the intern level on this C Corp for you. But I'm a senior or I'm a manager or whatever I am, right? And I'm just going to get an awful review. And then I'm probably going to leave.
And
just
it
because.
Happened over and over again. They just kept
In different ways.
Work. They didn't even specialize you and say, now you can just start doing these types of returns or work with these types of clients. They just kept keeping you more generalist.
Yeah. And the reason why I jumped around. So like first I went, obviously Big Four, right? That's up here. Then I went to a firm that's like a little bit below, probably like top 200 maybe. Thinking if I go down in size, I will get what I want. I will get that smaller business because they're smaller. But even a top 200 firm is doing big boy returns. Mm-hmm. This particular firm I went to had a specialty and a primary focus in C Corp provision work. So now I'm sitting there going, okay, well, but they said at the interview, I said, I only want to do individual flow through whatever. Don't give me any C Corps. And they said, no, we have plenty of that work. Well, guess what my first assignment was? Fresh out the gate.
C Corp.
A C Corp. A $300 million 45 state C Corp. All these M adjustments, all this complicated stuff. They gave me the financials for it with provisions. I'm like, I haven't even seen a provision in the last 5 years. The only last time I saw a provision was in my intermediate accounting class in college 5 years ago or whatever it was. And I'm like, guys, as you can imagine, they still push. I struggled through that. That was awful, man. It was a disaster. And I sat there and then I powered through it, though I had to get it done. I had no other choice. No matter how many times I would say, guys, I don't know what I'm doing. And then when all said and done, no matter how many times I was open about not knowing and constantly saying it, I got a horrible review, as you can imagine. And that's fresh out the gate, man. I just started there.
Yeah. And how much were you making at all these firms? Jumping from firm to firm, was it pay raises sometimes? Or sometimes were you taking a pay cut?
It was, thankfully, again, pay was not the reason why I did it, but pay certainly went up at every single jump. I would say every year and a half, unintentionally, I gave myself a 20% raise, more or less. So by the time that I was ready to go out on my own, I was making a 150.
Around 150. So
around 150.
From job to job, you're getting more experience, but you keep running into the same problems. You never found that perfect firm.
Yeah.
When or what made you decide, forget all this, I'm going to go out on my own?
Yeah. So this part is interesting. And this one is definitely, to me, a pivotal moment in my life, right? So I'll give you the context. I'm working at the last firm I was at, making $150,000. I was, getting to that point. I was annoyed about a lot of things there. I already wanted to go out on my own, but it just so happened that a friend of mine had an accounting firm and wanted to sell to me $100,000 worth of work of his. And he wanted to get out, whatever it was. I said, all right, I had $15,000 on the side. In my mind, it was one of two things. I wanted to hit $50,000 on the side. Now I was going to quit. I already told my wife, I was like, when I hit $50,000 on the side, I'm quitting in November of whatever that is and going out on my own because that's good enough to last me that little drip.
You said you had about 15 on the side? Like
15.
Just tax returns you were doing?
Yeah, family, friends, whatever. And I said to myself, let me try to grow that to 50 and then I'll leave because 50 will carry me through tax season. I'll figure it out. Beyond that, we had a decent, healthy savings, so it was all right. The problem is you can't get to 50. I couldn't get to 50,000 while working 70 hours a week. It was killing me, right? Even 15,000 was a lot.
Yeah.
So I said, all right, so when this opportunity presented itself, I was like, this is awesome. We started talking, we were trying to lay out the details, but we never put it in writing. as you can imagine, where this is going. So $100,000 of work, I was like, this is perfect. I'll give $100,000. It's even better than 50. I'll pay him out over a certain amount of time, monthly. It's fine. No big deal. So fast forward, I give notice once we were like, okay, we're all set. Like, and I was excited. I gave 3-week notice to the firm I was at. And 5 days after that, he got sued. The guy who was supposed to buy the practice from got sued because his partner was like, you can't sell any of this. This is ours.
After you put in your notice.
After I put in my notice, 5 days after. Now I got a choice. I'm like, I either go back, tuck my tail, go back and say, I'm sorry, never mind, I'm staying. Or I'll figure it out. And I figured, you know what? 5 days in, I got another 2 weeks to figure this out. So let me see what I'll do.
You took a chance on yourself.
I did, but it was thought through. I tend to be an overthinker sometimes, as many of us can be. But my thought process was this. If I'm doing this, let me at least do some contract work. That's what the thought that came to me. I'll do contract work while I'm growing the firm, and I'll charge $75, $100 an hour. And that way to keep the lights on, give me the good money. And that's now my suggestion to anybody looking to leave, by the way. So you could set it up the right way. I left. I was able to find the firm. I started traveling to the city, to New York City, to work with somebody that I knew. Then I found a job in New Jersey, a gig to consult. And I was consulting 15, 20 hours a week, dude. Like, and at $75, $100 an hour, that's good money.
Who were you consulting for?
Another public accounting firm. That was
So another firm.
Another firm, yeah. Yeah, I was just helping them, like, basically just review tax returns, prepare tax returns. I didn't give a what I was doing. I just wanted to do the work.
Contract work from other firms with their overflow.
Yeah, and they needed it. A lot of firms need it. So if, as an aside, if you are a person that's looking to go out on your own and you've got a great skill set in reviewing returns, preparing returns, whatever, you can leverage that immediately without drowning and trying to pick up $300 tax returns to just take any and everybody on. So I always tell people that because it's a huge opportunity for them to go out on their own, and then you taper it down. As
you don't end up growing a customer base that you resent later and that you have to sell off later.
Oof, so true. And there's no way, I tell people this, there's no way to either increase prices or, like you said, get rid of them or sell them off or do whatever without a slight to medium hit to your reputation. You know what I mean? Like, and remember, like, people can refer people. Like, just because somebody's paying $300 doesn't mean they don't know somebody that could pay $5,000.
That's rare. The $300 people know more $300 people.
They refer more.
Yeah.
$300 people, but they know more. You're right. Yes, they tend to kind of run in their own circles, but you just never know, right? And to me, the one of the two ways you do it is you either go to the $300 person, hey, your fee is $1,000 now, and they balk and run away and get very annoyed at you, or you contract and you eventually get to the $1,000 minimum fee.
Yeah.
As you're contracting along,
Which is what you did.
which is what I did. Yeah,
And it worked.
and it worked.
So you are almost 3 years in.
Yeah.
Now running your practice. What is the creative name of your practice?
The creative name of my practice is Kapilovich and Associates.
Yes, it is. You have a hat that has the Fun CPA. You use that a lot. You did not call your practice the Fun CPA. Who is the Fun CPA aiming at? Who are you talking to when you say that?
That's a great question. The Fun CPA is more of a brand for me personally in the industry. So, and I think initially it started with zero goals,
Zero with an X or a Z?
Oh, with a Z, not that zero. It started with no intention, and it's still, I don't know where it's going to go, but where I've seen it go, as I've been posting the Fun CPA and talking about that, and the brand is growing and growing, it's creating more of for the other professionals. One, for the public accountant out there that can relate to being fun and to trying to be like I was, to be a different person within a firm, to mold the firm, to change the firm, and it ain't happening, and you're frustrated. That's a lot of the people that can resonate with the Fun CPA because they can kind of get that. The other piece of it is other professionals who interact with CPAs constantly, financial planner and attorney, and none of those folks that they're interacting with are fun.
Any fun? No.
So they're like, the Fun CPA. I mean, the amount of times that I would get, again, not intentional. I'm not an intentional person. I just kind of did it. And now I'm real seeing it. People like, the Fun CPA, please tell me about that. And how can we do something together? I want more fun in my life. And that led me to doing networking events and stuff like that, boat trips with professionals Last year was incredibly fun.
I just use like the fawns. The fun. You're walking around with the leather jacket. I'm having fun.
I'm having fun. But sometimes it's like, you can't, if you're the Fun CPA, man, you can't be boring. You can't have an off day. You got to be on at all times. The fun.
Yeah, I know. The fun is always on.
It's always
you got to
on.
always be. So I think what you're also maybe unintentionally doing is making yourself more attractive to potential employees too, potential people that you can hire. I think what you're doing too is showing that a CPA doesn't have to be that one-dimensional, I am just doing the work, just doing taxes. Give me my green visor. I'm going to go hang out in front of my computer and then show you the results. You're showing a multi-dimensional, look, I have a pool. I have fun. I rap too, and I do all these other things, but I also do your taxes. So did you go out the gate and start calling yourself the Fun CPA when you started your firm, or when did that start?
No. So actually, when I started my journey of just posting on LinkedIn right as I started the firm, because I was taking the bus into New York City. It was an hour and a half each way. And as soon as I get on the bus, I took out my phone and I would just make a post. Never, it wasn't obviously the Fun CPA back then. It was, I called it Bus Thoughts. Bus Thoughts 1, Bus Thoughts 2. And the Bus Thoughts were about the industry. I was like, if you're a manager and you want to help your staff, take them under your wing, teach them. Like, take what the partner is throwing, rolling the proverbial downhill on you, stop it, and don't let the staff see that. That is your job as a manager. And you protect them, and then you teach them, and then you in turn create a better experience for them that will make them stay. They will stay because of you. That's how it was in my career with a lot of the folks that I worked with. Yeah.
It sounds like when you're talking about managers and stuff, that's from your old experience.
Correct.
You're calling back on that experience while you're still growing a firm.
Yes.
So let's talk about the firm a little bit now too, because that wasn't bringing you clients. That was just bringing you more fulfillment and more like contributing to the conversations that you were seeing online. Now you're also trying to grow a practice. And you're hustling, you're working contract work, you're doing all of that. Tell me about the first year of being a practice owner. How much did you make? Did you have anybody working for you? Was it just you? How much did you work?
Yeah. So the first year, again, because I was just contracting basically for 15 to 20 hours a week. So that was every week, 15 to 20 hours a week, I was contracting. The other time, I was obviously doing the social media stuff, whatever, on the bus, making posts, whatever. And then the work just kind of started flowing in as people heard. I didn't do any like direct marketing. A lot of my clients started referring me business, word of mouth, raised fees to minimum $800 and rolled with that. It was primarily tax only. So I was living off of a small recurring revenue monthly on the bookkeeping side of things. And then some quarterly clients I was taking on. And then obviously my contracting gig. So that first year, because of the contracting gig, I probably made around, in the full year, probably made around 100, right around maybe 100 with about like
more
40,
than 50.
More than 50, yeah. With about 40 to 50,000 that being in tax season.
Okay. Yeah. So you almost had about 50 in that tax season.
Yes.
And then start picking some stuff up after. And then you also find bookkeeping could be pretty lucrative. But what do you know about bookkeeping? You're working at all these 7 CPA firms. How many of them had you doing any bookkeeping?
Not many. I mean, when you're in a big firms, that's the challenge. And I tell people all the time, if you're in a small firm, use that experience because it is challenging. When you have the bookkeeping aspect and knowledge, it's huge. When you're in big firms, you're very heavily tax focused. So much about tax, and I'm thankful for it because I know 99.9% of any issue that might come up at my size firm now. But yeah, the bookkeeping side is a challenge.
It's a challenge. But you found in order to start getting some kind of recurring revenue and working with your clients year round, you do need to be into those books.
You got to figure something out to get recurring revenue. I found that it was either books or a few of my clients I started taking on, and I started realizing I'll offer a quarterly package.
Quarterly tax planning,
and quarterly touch points. And it sells well because not a lot of CPAs are doing that. Most of them are just 1 year. It gives more value in the client's eyes. And also it forces, by paying quarterly, it forces the client to attach the payment of quarter with, hey, let's meet and let's discuss. And that forces that conversation to then have the tax on the forefront and not play catch up down the line.
Expectations, it
Yeah.
keeps them aligned all through the year, so you don't hit them with a big tax bill and then they get pissed off. You know,
Exactly.
that's never fun.
No, it's not.
You're mainly working just you at this stage too. Tell me how much you were working.
I wasn't working a lot, I'll be honest. I mean, obviously I was working the 15 to 20 hours a week, which translated to like basically a day or two. But that was flexible. Like I could have not come in one day, whatever. That's the beauty of the contracting world. And then I was probably doing on a monthly basis, probably 20 hours a month of like reviewing the books and doing the tax touch points. And obviously that does not include social media, which quite frankly,
That probably is another 40 hours a
easily,
week.
man. God, if I tracked that, I probably would be freaking out about like how much time goes to it. But it's a necessary evil.
Right, but it's not like you were doing that when you were working at these firms. You were spending all of your time just doing taxes.
Yeah.
So now you've rounded yourself out. You're doing other things too. You're out there in the community, but you're also growing a practice. So 20 hours a month
Yeah.
sounds like nothing. Sounds like
It
you were
was.
just having fun.
I was, yeah, 100%. I was. I mean, there was a point. I'm trying to think. It was 2022. So it was my first tax season. It was my brother-in-law's 40th birthday, and so like it was like March 20th or something. I forgot what exact dates, but we went to Tulum for like, you know. I'm like, dude, that was the first time. So that was my first tax season on my own. And on the first tax season on my own, I'm going on vacation for 5 days to party. And I was like, this is nuts. Everything was handled. You know, I mean, I obviously didn't have that many clients at the time. So like $40,000, $50,000 of work is not that bad. Everything was handled great. I went out there. No clients were bothering me, nothing. Life was good, man. I was like, yeah, this is great.
This sounds like what happened to a lot of people. COVID, I think, sparked this for some people where they burnt out. You spent 7 years, or more than 7 years, because it was like 7 different firms. You spent many years working, only working.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yep.
This is like a vacation for you now. You're
Yeah.
still making some money, but your drive isn't to make all the money. This is to give me my time back, give me my sanity back.
Yes.
So you took that's also makes a lot of sense why you would want to create a lifestyle firm and to create a life where you could spend more time with your kids. You've got kids, and now you're also working out every day too. Tell me about that. You created another habit.
I really wanted to just get back into the gym and into a consistent flow in there. But in the morning, I got kids. They were waking up at 7. I'm going to the gym, you know, dropping them off at school, going to the gym. By the time I came back, I'm starting my day at 10:30. But that was my commitment to it. I wanted to make sure I was going 3 to 4 days a week, even during tax season, which was hard.
It's for your mental health. I mean, you're
100%.
able to do all these things. I think you might be spending a little too much time on the social networks and all that, and that
Yeah.
contributes to mental health degrade sometimes. So now you've got different things that you're interested in that you're doing alongside growing a practice. You're almost 3 years in, and we discussed some numbers. You're at about $250,000 right now. You've got that one part-time person, but you're making close to $200,000 a year because you don't have barely any overhead. You know, your costs is just some of the labor that you have, but otherwise low expenses, high margins, and high free time, lots of freedom. Now what? Are you okay with this? Could you just coast with this forever, or is there something else next?
It's a great question. Yeah, I'm making enough money to survive, thank God. Very blessed in that regard. And interestingly enough, I remember distinctly having a conversation in my very first gig that I did, consulting gig, in the city. I was working with this guy, and he was like, what's your goal? And I said, you know, I think I want to hit $250,000 and I'll be done. If I hit $250,000 in revenue, I'll be done working because that would fulfill me. And
Well,
as
you're
I
not
got
done working. You still have to work.
What I mean by that is, I will be done bringing on more clients, and I'll be happy.
Okay.
What I meant by that is I'll be happy with that. So as I get closer to that, now I'm like, okay, sure, I could do that. It's okay. It's great money. Don't get me wrong. I'm very blessed, very fortunate. But then I'm like, I could also keep going, right? I could keep going, but I need to change something about my structure, my processes, because I'm at my cap. Last name Cap.
Yuri Cap.
Yuri Cap. I'm at my cap of my time versus the profitability, and I can't take on more clients and still be in the same layout.
You've created a cap for yourself, so you have all that extra freedom. You don't have, there's not necessarily a cap that you've created a cap, like a big cap, a Yuri cap, because you don't want to suffer. You don't want to cut the gym out and then work more. You don't want to have somebody else pick up the kids so you can work more, because you can get it from 250 to 400 by yourself, but you're going to be working 80 hours a week and you don't want to give up the free time.
Exactly. I told myself, that is a really good way to put it. Yes, I can make so many sacrifices of my time and what I want to accomplish to achieve. Yes, I can grow it to 400 and, like you said, work 80 hours a week. But I told myself one thing when I left the public accounting, big firms. I said, if I'm doing this and I'm already working 70, I'm not doing this jump to go out on my own to work 70 hours a week. That just is not happening. I'm not doing that no matter what the money is. Because I don't want that. What's the point? I'll just stay there and not have to deal with the headache and hassle of hiring people, firing people, making sure
of managing people.
Exactly, and wearing a million hats.
Let's talk about that too, because right now you are wearing hats. You got the Fun CPA hat on right now.
All the hats.
You got your gym hat, you've got your kid hat, you got your business hat, and every different hat you're wearing with the business too. You understand that you've created a job outside of working at these CPA firms that you're making more money, you have more free time, but when you enter this next phase of trying to grow it,
you're
going to go back to working a lot more, then a phase of potentially when you hire somebody, you're going to be making less money now too. Yep. So you're going to be managing people, and you're going to be wearing some more hats as you're training and hiring people and then paying them, and then phases of less money. So this is a decision that you're making right now. You could be happy and be capped at 250 or whatever that might be and go along your way, or you could grow.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And that decision is not an easy one. Because
it sounds like you are moving toward the path of growth.
I want that, and I want to do it in a good way. But you're right, something has to give, right? And it's gonna be the bottom line, and that is the toughest part.
Bottom line in the time.
Yeah,
you'll probably also be spending more time as you're growing. You're gonna have to spend more time in sales and marketing, taking on more clients to fill that bottom line, because you don't want it to stay that low forever. Exactly. So that means you got to take on more clients to fill the capacity. You're going to create more capacity. Right now, you still have capacity. It sounds like you have created this cap, which is brilliant. It's beautiful, and it's hard to do for most ambitious people. Most ambitious people will not have a cap, and they will keep taking on every opportunity that they have until they burn themselves out on their own. You didn't get there yet. You don't sound burnt out. You sound like you're still having fun.
Yep.
All right.
Even in tax season, man. I'm still having fun in tax season.
Of course you are. I see you on there. I see you making posts and all the stuff that you're doing. Like, you have enough time to have fun while you're doing it. And that right there is something that everybody covets when they leave these big firms. You achieved what you set out to do, and now you're setting out to do. It's almost like a conscious decision that you're making right now at this stage that you know it may be another 2 or 3 years of hard work before you get to that next level, that next level up. Yeah,
100%. And in the meantime, you're right. You got to be the good manager, the good boss, the good whatever. And by the way, my other point that I'm very, very right now passionate about, which is whoever I do hire, whenever that time comes, soon or not, they will also be having fun during tax season. They will not be working more than 45 hours a week during tax season, because I don't want to work more than 45 hours a week during tax season. Why would I hire someone and expect them to do more than I'm willing to do?
So you're leading by example.
I'm trying, man. Now, it's a challenge, right? And obviously I will pick up the slack to that regard, but I tell people, whenever I have that conversation with someone, I'll say, listen, I know you're at a firm. You would take a pay cut, but I guarantee you will have your free time during tax season too.
And that is something that you're promising as you're part of your branding. And I think that's how you leverage the Fun CPA is you're the Fun CPA, but your firm is the Fun CPA. So you want to hire Fun CPAs and people that could fulfill that brand. So I know you said it started as a personal brand. Yeah. But what you want to do is, I know maybe you can't change the name of your firm as the Fun CPA, But if you really do lean into that brand that you've created, then you can create a culture around that. Right now, the culture is you. You have a part-time person, so you are the culture. You're creating that around you, your family life, and everything. But I think what you can do is intentionally set that out because you're still young. You don't want to turn into the things that you left behind at those firms, those larger firms. They're designed to be that way because that's how the partners are working too. Did you find that the partners were working just as much as you?
You nailed it. And more. The partners were working more than me. There was no appeal. And I think that that's the other misconception. And that proverbial carrot at the end of the stick that everybody thinks people get into accounting for to be a partner, it's almost done. It's almost gone. Nobody, wants that because you're seeing partners who are coming in before you and leaving after you. And I mean, yes, they're making good money. Don't get me wrong. By all means, 400, 500,000 in some of these firms. But is it worth it? They're not seeing their kids, man. They don't got a lifestyle. Their lifestyle is work.
Yeah, I'm with you. I lived that. And I hit the eject button because it was too much. It was too much, and I burnt myself out at my own firm. It's great that you learned some of these lessons before you started doing your own thing. It's just beware. In the name of growth and in the name of what everybody says, scaling, people burn themselves out. That's the next phase. So it's sometimes the accountant that tries to go into becoming a business owner and they don't know how to do that. That's another new skill set. So you've learned the taxes. You know how to deal with all that. You know how to work with some of these small business owners or the individuals that you're doing the taxes for. What does scale mean? You mentioned that you want to scale. What does that mean when you hear people say scale? I know that's a word that's thrown around on LinkedIn a lot, and a lot of people talk about growing and scaling. What does that mean to you?
To me, I mean, it's the simplest terms. It's growing my top line revenue and obviously the profit in a way that does not impact the lifestyle that I've set up for myself and my firm and the people who work there. So there's just no way that I could grow the top line much more than it currently is with the current setup that I have. So scale to me means, what do I do now that I want to hit that next milestone? I want to grow the top line revenue. I want to continue bringing on more clients, but I don't want to sacrifice my lifestyle to it. And that's what scaling means to me.
So what you just described is you're going to sacrifice your bottom line for a little while by hiring somebody to do the things that you're doing so you don't sacrifice your time. Because you could make more money, but then you're going to sacrifice your time and your freedom.
Exactly.
So bring somebody else in. And who is that person? What's the next hire then? Like you are at a pivotal growth stage right now.
That's exactly where I'm at.
What's the next hire?
The next hire, everybody dreams of like the perfect that can do bookkeeping and taxes, or that could do bookkeeping and is open to learning the taxes. I had somebody like that when I initially started my part-time bookkeeper that I started the firm with. And my next thought was, to be perfectly honest with you, is to bring her along. But in her context, I could see it too, because I do have this feeling of reading people and understanding, the empathy side of things. I'm heavy on that side. And I could see it, like she's currently at a more comfortable firm, bigger firm, whatever it is, been around for a while. To leave that to go to the unknown, the Fun CPA unknown, like, yeah, he's a fun guy, but like, how long is he going to be around for? Am I sacrificing my own career growth for this person?
This is still the Fun CPA with a question mark. Like, is it really fun? Yeah. You're not Fun CPA with an exclamation mark yet.
Yeah.
Once you start proving the model and proving that this works beyond you too, that's when it becomes fun with an exclamation mark. You have to start replicating the stuff that you're doing too.
Yeah.
So in order to grow past yourself, you are probably going to need a tax person. And that's a difficult thing in our market. How are you going to find a tax person? Everybody's looking for tax people right now.
Yeah. The only way to find a tax person is, you have two options. You can either go outsource to offshore and just have them help you during tax season, or you continue to build the brand, make the movement, hit that LinkedIn heavy. If somebody wants to contract and leave their firm, let's go.
Yeah.
Come help me out. And again, like, you want to stay on and somebody to grow with me in my firm. This is a pivotal time.
Where do you think you're going to go to market? Do you have a particular client persona that you want to market to, or client that you like working with?
Yeah, so my current, and that's another interesting kind of inflection point where I'm at right now. I've been, since day one, pretty wide, right? I mean, in my mind, it was, my ideal client is 5 million gross revenue and below. That's the ideal client. But that's wide.
Yeah.
That's very wide. And it's been working because those folks can see the value. I'm value driven. My practice is value driven. I don't have that many clients.
5 million and lower is too wide. Do you have any types of clients, business types, or personas that you like working with? And this is a hard question.
It is.
Most tax people have a hard time answering this.
I appreciate you drilling it down more. To me, in my mind right now, that is the niche. So, the 5 million and below, but it's not like...
So small businesses is your niche.
It's a small business of under 5 million. But I recently, in the last 2 to 3 weeks, literally have been contemplating niching down more, finding that specific, because you can't market I'm going to say it again, you can't market at scale to $5 million and below. I mean, you can, but it's hard to effectively do that, right? So then,
where are they going?
Yeah.
Maybe there's some small business type, like, gatherings and like that.
It's really, I'll be honest, my main driver of business is word of mouth. So it's the $3 million gross revenue client that's got a friend that's got a $3 million or a $1 million business, and they go and say, Yuri is the best. He's awesome. He has all the time. He doesn't have a lot of clients. Yes, his fees are high. Don't be alarmed. This is literally the conversations that my clients have with their friends. And they're like, so they're prepping them all for me. This is the freaking best, man.
They say he's expensive, but he's worth it.
Expensive and he's worth it. And, go talk to him. I have get on the phone with them for half an hour or whatever it is, drop a ton of value on that call. And I say, hey, my fee is $7,500 for something like yours. And it is not, and then they'll go like, okay, no problem. And sometimes I go, damn, I should have gone higher. But no, but
that's what you always, you're leaving money on the table there.
Yeah, but
they say yes right away.
Exactly. But to me, I'm like, but that's because the clients of mine from before prepped it. And the wildest part, which is you're gonna probably find crazy, is I don't even have a Google thing. Like I don't do the search.
Oh my gosh, that was the next.
I figured you were going there.
That was where, yeah.
The reason why, and I'm going to explain to you because I have my reason as to why.
You work from home and you don't want to show people your house?
Not definitely not that for sure as a general, but that's not the main driver. The main driver is actually the fact that I don't want to have those half an hour conversations I just described to you where I'm doing that like initial sales pitch and this is what I do. I don't want to have that on repeat to waste my time for them to then just be like, okay, I'll get back to you.
Yeah, well, guess what?
When
you hire somebody, you're gonna have to do that,
and that's fine. And that's my challenge, right? So it's like this like chicken versus the egg thing, right? Like because where I'm at right now, it's a mentality thing. I really think as we're talking about it, I'm trapped in this. Okay, I'm okay where I'm at unless I do something else. I bring somebody else on. Now I free up my time. I'll gladly have those calls, but I don't want to have those calls. Like the only way I'm doing Google stuff is if I can like somehow market specifically so that have some sort of like a blocker, like a way to say, a way to get the value. So at least when I'm having those conversations, I'm at least getting the ideal client.
You want a tip?
Yes.
So one thing we do is intake forms. We get a lot of inbound leads, and I would waste so much time talking to just unqualified people. So we have a built-in qualifier now. We have a type form. It'll ask them very specific questions. All the qualifying questions that we built up over time. The things that these are the types of clients we like to work with. As they fill it out, if they answer one of the questions wrong, it'll boot them out of the form and say, thank you for filling it out, but this is not the right time. You're not a good fit for us, or something along those lines. We have like little I like that. Like escape hatches. Like if they say this wrong, we're not even going to waste time with them. So it doesn't even get them to the booking form, the calendar booking form. If they've answered a lot of things right and they have the budget to work with us, then they get a booking form and then they meet with somebody on our team.
That's fantastic. My thought on that concept was, go on Google, click on my website. On the website, there's a pricing. Our prices start at about $2,000 and above. And that, to me, would, in theory, eliminate the folks that want to pay less than that I probably don't want to work with anyway.
It doesn't. If they're looking to talk to somebody real quick, they ignore that and they still want to talk to somebody, and then you still tell them the price and they're like, well, but my stuff's easy. You create this. You create whatever you want to pull in, and then you learn from your mistakes. My days would be half-hour calls the whole day, and then maybe one of them becomes a client, and I'd waste the rest of the day just like back and forth, creating proposals. So we wasted a lot of time with that. Right now, it's working because it's referrals. You don't have to deal with the marketing. You don't have to deal with all that stuff. You're still getting over your burnout.
Exactly.
Yeah. Once you get a little bit more energy and time to do all the other extra stuff and hire somebody, then you'll figure that out too.
Yeah. But that's exactly it. I mean, this is a good solution around it, the inbound leads type form and all that, to at least qualify folks to make them answer. If you don't even want to answer that, you're probably not an ideal client. If you don't even want to spend the time to go through that form. Definitely a good point.
So for our students, you've been on quite a journey, and it does sound like it's just getting started, because growing a practice is more fun than you could ever imagine. So to sum it up, you're about to enter the next stage of becoming a business owner. Yeah. And once you do enter the stage, there'll be no turning back. You will resent yourself. You'll resent the people around you when you make some mistakes, and you'll figure it out. It's going to be a long journey till you get to that coveted scaling moment. When I was at about 250 or around that stage to then hiring more people and growing, it took me 5 years, at least 5 or 6 years, to get to the point where now I have all that free time again. So I had no free time in those years. I was working like crazy. My firm now is at 1.7 million. It's running without me, and I have all that free time again. But during those 6 years, I worked more than 80 hours a week to grow it, to learn all the things, to do the marketing, to hire the people. To then somebody left, so now I got to pick up the work that they were doing, and then they were doing all the things wrong, so I had to fix some returns. I had to amend some stuff. Just beware. You're probably going to go back to working more, but you may love it. Those 80 hours I was working, it didn't feel like work. I still loved what I was doing because I loved making money and growing the business. And I was seeing growth and success and hiring more people, and managing people is hard, and growing and scaling is hard. It feels like all of that work was worth it, and it didn't necessarily feel like work. I didn't see my kids much at all. I didn't see the gym much at all, but hey, now I got the free time. Now I can rap. So I don't know if it was worth it or not, but it's
that what you just described is the crux of and in my mind, I see that.
You could keep going at this cap and be fine.
Yeah. And that's the exact competition, because I know that if I drop my net, my take home, if you will, my net income, whatever, and that gets dropped for another person that I'm taking on, it's going to burn, and it's going to put those juices to work to do exactly what you just described.
Dude, it's going to burn, and unconsciously or unknowingly, you're going to resent that person too, because they make a mistake and you're not making any money now, and now you got to fix it. You should be appreciating that person, but then you're like, oh, man, I could have just done this myself.
Oh, the proverbial, let me just do it myself.
I'm warning you now, once people hit that 200-300 stage and they want to get to 1 million, just know that road to 1 million, it's all uphill.
Yeah. It's wild, man. This is like a 1 hour therapy session. I feel like an accounting therapy session, and it's
brought to you by Accounting High.
Yeah.
And thanks for joining us.
You're welcome, man. Thanks.
Do you have anything to share with our students? Any one last words of wisdom, or tell us where you think you're going to be in a few years now after this therapy session? Digest a little bit. What are you going to do? Are you going to grow or scale, or are you going to stay?
I'm going to grow, but I'm going to grow slowly.
Grow slow.
Grow slow.
Grow slow with cash flow.
There it is. You got to jot that down. To me, growing slowly with a contractor that would help me in tax season so that I could ease off the prep, lean on to the review and bring the money. I operate in the way that I'll spend the money on the contractor because it's temporary. It doesn't lock me in. And then in the meantime, I'm going to bring in more work. I'm going to see how that works, how my marketing funnel will become. And then if I'm seeing that explode, then we'll hire full time. That's how I'm seeing it right now, if we're being honest, on this therapy session outlook.
Sounds fantastic. I'll see you in a couple years.
Yes, sir.
And we'll check that out. We'll see how it's going.
Yeah,
Thank you, Big Cap. Thanks for joining me. One day we'll be on stage rapping together.
One day, man. One day I will look forward to it. Thank you so much for having me on the show and for this conversation, man. I hope it brings a ton of value to people.
Dope. Yeah. Peace out, students. Class dismissed.
All right.
Okay.